Lesson from the XML format, how it will be. Then after that we have look into the our project, and then we now come to the project folder again, and in project folder tell me. Yes, tell me. 11 am. Anyone. So we'll open the CMD under the project folder, and after that, in project folder, CMD is open. You will write here forward space dot enter. Your current project will get load under the VS Code. Okay, your current project will get load under the VS Code. Next, again, in the same CMD, you will write npm start. This command is going to help you to compile your project. And once your project get compiled, then it will be running on localhost 3000 port number. So compilation is happening. Now let it compile. Meanwhile, we'll go through the flow. What is the folder structure, and how you are going to, where you are going to create your file, and how you are going to link with the existing React, whichever the file we have downloaded, and that is running the default code. These all are called as a default code. Okay, this is your default structure, what it was. Now let's look at this structure. When you are going to develop a project in React, how the folder or structure will be organized, what is the flow inside, where you will create your own file, and how you will link with that. Okay, that point is important to understand. So as we know, as a user, always interaction happen with browser. User interaction will happen with browser. So you are learning, this is for the web application development, not for the mobile app development. And the syllabus what we have, it is for the web application development, not for the mobile app development. User interaction happen with the browser. Okay, user interaction will happen with the browser. How interaction will happen? User will open the laptop, user will open the mobile, user will open the desktop, and after that, people will type the URL, website will get open. Next, in this browser, you are going to open those applications that is developed using the React. Okay. So inside the React now, understand what folder structure and where it is and how it is going to help. So I'll write here called React front-end application. React front-end application. React as a front-end application. Now inside this React, if you look, you have a folder called node modules. Node_modules. Okay, node modules. This folder is holding all the required library. This folder is holding all the required library packages that is going to support you to develop your project using the React. To develop the application in React, we required some libraries. So those libraries are exist under this folder. That folder is called a node modules folder. Okay. This node modules is holding the packages. Multi-hundred folder files will be there. Okay. Multi-hundred folders and files will be there. These all are the core packages. Core package means those packages that is required to develop a project under the React. Now after that, you have one more folder that is called public. You have one more folder called public. Inside the public folder, you have one file. That file name is called index.html. Index.html. Okay, you have a file called index.html. Now this index.html file definitely deal with the browser. That is the known rules that you know when you create the HTML file, you run in the browser. When you create JavaScript file, you link with the HTML and then run in the browser. You JavaScript directly don't execute in the browser. It's run through the through the HTML. Next, after this, yes, sir. क्यों कौन किए? Nowadays, no unknown people will call you. They engage here and there. And meanwhile, when you are talking something, who are you? Where are you? Why you called? Within that 1 minute duration, your phone will be hacked. Your SIM card will be cloned. So if any unknown number is calling you, hi, hello, who are you? Well, disconnect the call before 1 minute. Okay. Disconnect the call before 1 minute. Right. Let's go ahead now. Node modules is holding the packages. Public folder is holding the index.html. Right. After that, the remaining folder you consider as a SRC folder. Remaining area, I can say, remaining area from here to here, this all area consider is a SRC folder. The remaining area is SRC folder. Now in SRC folder, you have one file. That file name is called index.js. You have one file called index.js. This index.js will be dealing with this file called index.html. Input will come, output will happen, because application is not for only for output purpose. Input will also happen, output will happen. For that purpose, right, we create the file. I wrote the arrow mark saying like input and output both. Okay, next after this you have another file. That file name is called app.js. App.js is another file. Now between this index.js as well as app.js, how the communication is going to happen? Something like this. I have made the double arrow key that represent the input and output port. This is the default structure of your React project, what you have downloaded. In that, the node modules can be accessed anywhere inside the SRC folder. Inside the SRC folder, whichever the file you have created, in that file, any library from node modules you can call anywhere. Okay, any library from this node module you can call in any file. Okay, right? Wait, there will come civil writing. Okay, index.js as well as app.js. Now let me come to the next. So requirement will not be only this much. In your project, you will have multiple files. So how that files you are going to organize? Let's assume there is one file called register.js. Assume one more file you have called login.js. Assume some more file you have home.js. Assume you have a file called product.js. Right. Assume one more file you have called billing.js. Right. So multiple files will be there according to project requirement. Now let me circle this file. This is one file. This is another file. This is one file. This is another page. This is another page. Now inside this all the pages, some kind of functionality you are going to write according to your project requirement. After writing those functionality, how you will connect it? Correct. So register file also can go to the index. Login file also can go to the index. Home can also go to the index. Product can also go to the index. Billing can also go to the index. Okay. It is not like only app will go to the index. Any file can come to the index. Okay. Right. After that, but what we are going to do now, we are not going to deal with the index directly. Because already app is communicating with the index. Now we will handshake with the app. Whichever the file we have, we will connect this file with the app.js. Register, login, home, product, billing, any file. Whichever the file we have, all the file will connect with the app.js. After connecting with the app.js, your app is already dealing with the index. No need to worry further. Correct? Just link your file with the app. App is already dealing with the browser. So I'll go here and I'll take another line, maybe some red color, and I'll connect from home will go to the app. Product will also go to the app. Login will also go to the app. Register will also come to the app. Register will come to the app. Come to the app. Your login will also go to the app. So whichever the files we are going to create, all the file we will link with the app. That day I have guided you, import and export. So register.js will import under the app. Login.js will import under the app. All the files, whichever the file we are creating, all we will import under the app. And app is already dealing with the index, right? So what will happen? Flow will be clear. But according to the individual wish, it is JavaScript file. Okay. This login and register you can keep in one folder. And then also you can import under the app. This home product and billing you can keep in one folder. And then you can import under the app. That is also possible. Okay. So let it be this one is a simple structure so that quickly you will understand. Making the complex is not difficult task. We can make anyhow. Now next matter is your React will start working. And I have given here the mark saying like whichever the library we required, all the library we can call under the SRC, correct? Whichever the library we need, all the library we can call under the SRC folder. Whichever the library is required, all the library is suitable to call under the SRC folder. Right? Okay. Next, after that, where the API will come? Where is the place of API? Because React is going to play only under the user browser. React has to communicate with the backend to send the data, receive the data. Then only the project will be dynamic. Else the project will be only a static page for everyone same content. Right. So next we will come to the API part. So for API purpose, you have to make the backend ready. So this becomes the backend. Inside the backend, it can be any language. Okay. Backend language. Let me write only backend. This backend can be any language. Now inside the backend, there will be two sections. What are those? One will be called server-side processing language and another will be called storage. So I'll go here and I'll write here storage as a database. Database become as a storage where you are going to store the data. Okay. Storage database. Then another one you have called server-side processing language. Server-side processing language. Server-side processing language. Okay. So in server-side processing language, what will come? There can be Java, there can be PHP, there can be Python, Node.js, many languages. Let me write here a few. Can be Java, can be PHP, can be Node, can be Python, okay, and can be many more. So in server-side processing language, you are going to write the web service. You will be writing here called web service. This web service technique is available in all the languages. If you are using Java, also you have the web service. PHP have, Python have, Node.js have. Everywhere we have a concept of web service. Okay. So web service will be written here. And inside that web service, there will be multiple way. We can say SQL, we can say no SQL. Okay, if the database is JSON server, database is this one MongoDB, you have to store the data in the object format. If the database is MySQL, then you have to store the data in SQL format. Through SQL, it will go and come. So let me come to the now this point as a API part. This becomes a web service. Under this web service, now some code we have to write. Using the code, our web service will be able to communicate with the database, and database will be able to communicate with the web service. So the web service both will be comfortable to each other, and that will be easily it will communicate. It may be in the term of sending the data, or it may be in the term of receiving the data. So this point is ready. So which language will deal with the database? Backend language. What are those? Java, PHP, Node.js and all. Not React, not Angular, not JavaScript, not jQuery, not HTML, not CSS, not Bootstrap. These languages have no such feature to communicate with where? Database. Only your backend language can communicate with the database. Okay? Now web service is ready and it's able to deal with the database. Now what next? One side your stock is available. Another side consumer is available. But in between there is a river. Okay. One side next to the river there is a storage. And before the river there is a consumer. Correct? Now consumer want to access the data, but data is across the river. So what we have to do? Now we need to create a bridge. Between where to where? From the consumer to storage. So the consumer can go to the storage, access the data and come back. Consumer can send the data and consumer can receive the data. That point is called what? API. Okay. Now let me write here. So I'll go here at this point and I will make a bridge. I'll make a bridge here. Okay. This bridge is like through this, you can send the data to the backend and you can receive the data from the backend in which format? This format. That is called JSON data. That is called a JSON data. Right? This becomes your JSON. Right? Just I have written in something. I'll change the color to red. So this becomes a JSON. Next to that, what should happen now? From the API connectivity is required. So now I'll erase little so that it will clearly show yes, data is going to the API and data is coming from the see here. At this point also I need to make little point here that represent the entry point. You will ask why you have given a smaller entry point. Correct? Entry point at the both the side you can see little smaller entry point is there. Reason that a small entry point represent the authentication. Everyone cannot call the API. Only those can call the API who have the access permission. Because of that, this point is very wide plus entry point is very small. Whoever have the permission, they only can access the API. Okay. Now let's come to the next point. Will give us the form and all everything. After some time, I'll come. Let's go here now. Billing is displaying the data in app. App is displaying in the browser. That point is clear. But inside the billing page, data will come from where? Some input will be given by person and some input will come from the backend. Then only it will generate the bill, right? So you can say here, billing will communicate with where? Backend through the API. When the login will happen, where it will check? In the backend through the API. When product list will happen, where it will come from? API. When user will register, when he will fill the form and click on submit the data, submit button, where data will go? It will go to the API. When home page will load and it will display the list of customer, list of product, list of billing, list of users, where it will come from? It will come from the API, right? So you saw, whatever the pages you are creating, one hand, it's communicating with the backend, and another hand, it's dealing with the browser, right? Like suppose you have two hands, one hand you take something from someone and give to someone. Maybe from the same hand you take something and give to, so your hand will work in both the direction, input and output both, right? So here also your component, this file what you have created, it is going to work in the same way. One side, it will take the input from user and give to backend. And again, at the same time, maybe take the input from the backend and give as an output to the user, correct? Input and output both can be in same place, or input and output both can be on different place, depend on our ways, okay? Right? So at that point, let me write here call API. API. Okay, so what is the meaning of API? API is a kind of a bridge. Through that, we send the data from one location to other location, and we receive the data from one location to other location, vice versa. Through the bridge, if you are going through bridge, you can come also, no? That is called as what? Input and output. But in that, you have two ways. Okay. Number one, when you are communicating, are you communicating in secure mode or unsecure mode? That's called a RESTful API and SOAP API. RESTful API is nothing but to communicate with the backend, we required permission. You have to send the username and password. Backend will check whether you have permission to access the data or not. If you have access permission, then they'll give you the data, else it will say access forbidden. You don't have permission to access the data. Okay. Another will be anyone can go and get the data. That is called public and private. Public means open for all. Private means limited user. Based on permission, you will get the data. Okay. Right. So what we are going to study now, at first stage, you will not communicate with the API. First stage, we will understand creation of the file and linking with the app and displaying in the browser. Second stage will understand little input, or maybe putting the array, displaying the data from array. Okay. And then after that, we can say what is the map function, how to use the loop, how to create variable, how to create array, display part. After that, you will come to know you have the multiple pages. But when you have multiple pages, how can you display all pages at the same time? You can't display all pages at the same time. You have to apply the control on that. So whichever the page will be demanded by user, that page has to load. User will click on login, login page will come. User will click on register, register will come. That will be the third stage, third stage. So once we are till there, then we'll start working on state management. Actual meaning of React. Okay, how input output happen. Once a state management is clear, then remaining feature of React. Then if that is clear, then API will come. Okay, we can create our own server also, JSON server. I'll write here. In case if you are not going to learn the backend part, then we will make here one JSON server, and JSON server is called as a JSON server will create, and this JSON server will help you to create the mock API. JSON server will help you to create what type of API? Mock API. Okay. Mock API represent like it will work like its API only, but it will not have any processing language. It will not have any kind of database to store. It work on the file system. Your file then data will store in the file. Okay, you can access from file, you can store in the file, you can paste. Okay, so this all we are going to study. In between, Redux will come. In between, your hooks will come. Correct, and remaining React feature all will get covered one by one. Okay, clear. So next, if you want to take photo, you can take the final photo of this. And this, if anyone asks, tell me how the React flow works. Okay, taken the photo. The zoom out will not happen. This is the maximum. If I zoom out, it will go out of the window. This will happen. So that you cannot do. This is the maximum. 100%. It is already 100%. You can take the screenshot. Will be helpful. Okay. Let me save this file. This will help us for the further communication. Whenever we required, we can use it. Okay, then come next. Next, we'll come to our project. And inside the project, we will create the file. Correct? Where? Under the SRC folder. Under the SRC folder. But in SRC folder, hello, sir. तो मेरे ईमेल पे भेजना इसमें भी और हाँ एक दूसरा मेरा सर्वर कल से कुछ तरह की What is the brand of you? Kalamandir. So look at next. No, what is the next video of Kalamandir? Next stop, anything? In the same beauty salon, the second floor, right? What is it? You know, right? No, you are looking the again left side. I told you come Kalamandir, look right. Next to Kalamandir stop, another stop, Amara side. Next to that, I got stop, Sari side. We are going inside. You have info campus number, 888 number. Call to that number, civil guidance. Okay, so go to the SRC folder, create another folder in SRC folder called basic. 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 Right, basic folder is created. Again in SRC, create another folder called hooks. Okay, hooks. Basic and hooks two folder is created. Okay, now you will create one more folder in SRC only, that is called the API. API. So basic, when we are in the current stage, we will be creating the file under the basic folder. After understanding the basic folder, we will go to the hooks folder. In the hooks, all the hooks related functionality will understand. Then we will go to the API. Understand, in that we will understand the API related functionality. After finishing the API, we will set up another project for the Redux. Okay, this project will be separate and one more project will set up for the Redux. Okay, so hope everyone is following me and you made the folder. Let's go to the basic folder now. So it should not be inside the basic API, and under the API you should create the hooks. You go to the SRC folder and see there, all folders are separate or not. In folder you can go and check once all folders are separate or not. Separate? Okay. So we'll create the file under this folder called basic folder. So under basic folder, create a file. You can click on basic and then create the file. Give the file call, maybe user.js, user.js. In user.js, you are going to create a component. Okay. In user.js, you are going to create a component. Then you will ask, what is the component? That day we discuss component in the term of JavaScript, how the function will work. In the term of JavaScript, function work like we write some certain functionality, and whenever we want inside the project, anywhere throughout the project, we can call the function. Same way, your React component is going to work, but it will be in the two way. We can create the component using two way. One is through the function based. How we write the function in JavaScript. And another we can create through the class based. Class based represent, you have to create a class. Inside the class, you have to write the function. And inside the class, there will be multiple functions. Okay. And multiple function will have different functionality. And combined of multiple function, there will be final output. That will be the final output of a class. So that will be called as a class component. And what you are going to write, it is called as a functional component. Class component almost gone from market. Okay, rarely somewhere you will see. If any project is existing project, 5 years before someone have developed, 4 years before someone have developed, that will be using the class component. But now class component will not be there anywhere. Almost everywhere call it a functional component. And in functional component, you will be calling some existing function from the React, predefined function from the React, and that will be called as a hooks. What it will call? Hooks. We will write our own function, that will be called as a component. But when you are going to call some existing function from the React library, that will be called as a what? Hooks. It will have their own functionality. We wanted that functionality to integrate in the project. We will call the function and we'll use it. That will be called as a what? Hooks. Okay. So that I'll guide you when we start that. From a state management onwards, hook functionality will come. But as of now, we are going to write simple function like how we used to write JavaScript. Fat arrow function will be the maximum. We'll try fat arrow. Okay. So let's come. This will be one, not based on fat arrow. This will be as this app function is written. App how is written? Function name. Same way we will also write here function and function name. Function and function name called my user. Now remember, whenever you are creating a function called as a hooks, this will not start with the lowercase. The first character must be uppercase. If you are putting first character lowercase, you can't call it. It will not work. Okay, so it must be start with the uppercase. Clear? Function name, whenever we write, component name must start with the uppercase. Your file name is your wish. You write a small or capital, that is the next matter. Okay, your own understanding, but component name must start with the uppercase. Just write a function name, come inside, and what this function will give the output? We have to do something inside the function. This function should give some output. Whatever the output this function will give, that you have to write under the call as a return. Let's go inside. Div, open and close. Div, open and close. Why div we have written? Because we have understood already JSX. Write inside call h1 and write there call user list. Write in a paragraph for user is working. User is working. User is okay. Come down. Since the my user function you are not going to use in current file. My user function you are not going to use in current file. My user function you are going to use in the other file. So what we have to do? We have to make it able to use. We have to make it able to use. So for that, export default. Which one? My user. Export default my user. Okay, save it. Let's go ahead. Now, which file it should get imported? Look at here. Assume we created a file. File has to go to where? App. So you will go now directly to the app.js. Hope this file is written. Come to the app.js file. Inside app.js file, we need to import this. Call as a my user. So in app.js file, import in the beginning my user from ./basic ./basic user. So user.js is the file name. From there, you are calling a function called my user. Now come here. Then you will ask my user is a function. How I should call it? I have given the idea in not app.js, in index.js. When you want to call a function in JavaScript, you will call like this. But if you want to call in JSX, you will call like the BRHR tag. So in app.js file, simple after the paragraph, you call here call my user, something like this. Inside the parent record. Because this also becomes a tag. This also becomes a tag. If you keep out of the division, what will happen? It will break the JSX rule. So what will happen? It will throw the error again. So we should put inside the parent tag. Look at the browser now. Is it printing? It will print call user list. So the what structure you have written this one? Look like better only. Is following the structure. Check once. Working for how many people? Are you able to see in the browser something like this? User list. Let's go ahead. We'll create one more component. One user component you created, it's working. Inside the basic folder only. Under the basic folder only, create one more component. Under the basic folder, create one more component. Give call product.js. Product.js. Under the product.js file, again you will write not that method, enhance little. Okay, so go for the next call, fat arrow. Const, I'll guide you why we are writing const. My product equal to, so we will follow this method. Which method? We will follow called fat arrow function every time. Okay, return region to write const is only one. Region to write the const is only one. The content of my product should not get changed anywhere. Okay, when you write const my product, you cannot create again same function. You cannot create again same variable. You cannot reassign another value. So this becomes a final. If you will not write const, assume var or let something. So value can be changed. If value will change, then your function will lose the status. Right? So we are saying my function, my product, you are fixed. Using which keyword? Const keyword. Throughout the project, whether in this page or some other page, in app page or index.js, anywhere no one should change the value of my product. If someone is trying to change the value of my product, it will throw the error and it will not change. Okay. Because of that, we use the keyword called const. Now right inside H1, call product list. And right here call tag product is working. Okay, hope ready. Come down. Export default my product. Export default my product. Again, this my product component, we will import under which file? App.js file. And app.js file will give the data as usual. Let's go to the app.js again and import the my product. Come to the app.js file, import, call my product from product, call below my product, save it. So now it will go in the browser and it will display both the components. My user will also work, my product will also work. Okay, hope working. Right. So we got some basic flow, where to create the component, how to call. We'll create few more component. Now you create a component, call it a customer. Okay, create a file called customer and name of the component will be my customer. Write something and import here. So you are able to do or not? Working? Hope you are able to do. In basic folder, you created a file called customer.js. Next, after that, you wrote inside const my customer come inside return division h1 customer list customer is working. Next, after this, we'll come to the which file? App.js file. Import my customer from ./basic of customer. Then you will come down below my customer. Just look like easy. Create the component, write a function and call the function in another file and just load in the browser, right? This is the basic understanding and basic flow, how to create a component and how to run it. Next, from here, fundamental starts. 3 components we created. We will create 2 more components. And after creating the component, we will start from first component, how to create a variable, how to print it. Then how to create a single dimensional array, how to print it. How to create the multi-dimensional array variable and how to print it. Correct? Then how to create a nested array, array inside array and print it. Correct? So the printing part will be clear. Okay, if you have any type of data, we can print it. Then next will come taking the input. Okay, so first component creation will happen. We'll write some CSS, and after that we'll go through the map function to play with the array. And after understanding that, we'll go for the routing. We will create the navigation. Okay, after covering the routing, we'll come to the statement. Okay, so again, see you tomorrow. Today some late happened.